Welcome back from the rest hold, everybody. It's time for us to start getting into our Roadblock predictions. And as I mentioned before, there's only 4 matches that have been announced so far. So they're either going to just throw this on WWE.com over the next day or so, or they're just going to announce it right when it's happening or whatever, I don't know. Or maybe we're going to be really lucky, and this is going to be a 4-match card for 3 hours, and the whole rest of it's going to be fucking recaps and stuff. That'll just be fantastic. But nonetheless, we have an NXT match is the first one we're going to talk about here. NXT Tag Team Championship is on the line. The Revival, otherwise known as Dash and Dawson, otherwise known as Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, are going to be defending against Enzo Amore and Colin Cassady, 2 people that they already beat back in the last TakeOver event. But I guess, why not just do it again or something like that. I got to imagine here there's no title change that's going to be taking place. And if anything, I'm suspicious that this is a way to introduce Enzo and Cass to the main roster, folks, before they show up on Monday Night Raw. I think that this is as good a sign as any.
Wait, what?
What's tripping you up?
What? You don't think there's a title change happening?
No. See, the thing with the title change is the Revival's already set to go up against American Alpha at TakeOver Dallas. Now, they could change that, of course. Everything's subject to change. But it would be weird, in my mind, if Enzo and Cass fought American Alpha more so than the Revival. It's like 2 babyface teams. Everybody's going to be happy that Enzo and Cass win, kind of going against American Alpha and all that. And if any tag team is going to come up to the main roster, Enzo and Cass make more sense right now. So I think this is a way to get them to where the people that don't normally check out NXT are going to watch this show, possibly, and they'll go, wait, who are these guys? And then Monday Night Raw comes along, they show up, and then it's like, oh, the guys from fucking Saturday. Which, that'd be kind of cool.
See, I was thinking the same thing. Had they not announced the match for TakeOver Dallas, I would think maybe there'd be a title change here at Roadblock. But since they've already announced, and yes, card subject to change, I understand that. But I agree with you. This is the way to get them in people's mind for people who might not watch NXT, only watch the main roster. And that way, I'm still guessing the Monday Night Raw right after WrestleMania is when they're going to make their main roster debut. So this hopefully just is a way to introduce them, make them look strong. They're this close to getting it, but it wasn't quite enough this time. But make sure you keep your eye out because they're going to be back.
And I wouldn't even be surprised if they won the match, but won by like DQ.
Yeah, I
so
can see that.
They look even stronger.
No, I'll one up you even further on this because they can win this match and they should win this match. Because what this does, at this point, Enzo and Cass have no match for Dallas. They ain't doing shit in that show. So they should have those titles one run before they do get promoted. So they can win the titles on that show, hold them for the few weeks going to Dallas, and that becomes a 3-way tag match. And then you can put them back on whoever. And they don't need to be the ones that get pinned.
That makes sense too.
Wouldn't be the strangest thing that ever happened. Drew, what do you think about this? Do you think Revival's going to keep it, or do you think it's going to switch over to Enzo and Cass?
The last time I thought Enzo and Cass were going to win the title, they didn't win it. And then the time before that, when I thought they were going to win the title, they didn't win it there either. So, yeah, I really don't know. I'd like to think that they would win at some point, but if they were going to put the titles on them, it would be hot-shotting it for a hot minute, like Peyton said, or they would have just done it a long time ago because they have been the hottest tag team in NXT for a better part of a year and a half now. So I wouldn't be shocked if they finally put it on them, but at the same time, if they didn't, it's just another day for them pretty much.
Yeah, they've deserved it for quite a while, but I don't think putting it on them for less than a month is really going to do much for them.
But they deserve to have those titles at some point regardless.
It does, just because then they are NXT champions. It doesn't matter what the length is. When they come up, they'll be just going to say, oh, they were NXT champions. That's all they need to say.
Now, if they do bring Enzo and Cass up, do you guys want Carmella, or do you think Carmella can just kind of stay in NXT and do her own thing?
No, she has to be a part of that.
We got to have Carmella.
I mean, she could continue staying down there doing double duty. Like she could be there for Raw and pay-per-views, and then when they go on the road, she can go back to the Performance Center. That'd probably be the best thing to do with her.
Because she is making a lot of headway. She's improving quite a bit, but she's not quite main roster ready, I would say. So if she did come up, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But if she didn't, I don't think it would be the end of the world either. I think that they could be strong enough on their own without her. And she could probably do her own thing on her own, too. Stop doing the bada bang hottest chick in the ring thing, most likely. But, you know, she's got the connection with Bayley, and if she wants to change her character up or whatever like that, I'd be cool with it. Either way, I'm really hoping that this means Enzo and Cass are going to come up. Because if they lose this match, and they don't wrestle at TakeOver Dallas, and they don't show up right after WrestleMania, then what the fuck? At that point, then clearly it just shows that they don't really give a shit about Enzo and Cass. Because there's been multiple events where they haven't participated, and it's kind of ridiculous. Where do you guys think this should go on the card itself? Obviously, we only know a couple of matches, so we don't know where it should balance out for some of the other things. But do you guys think it would be a good idea for Roadblock to open up with this, or should it come a little bit later on as like a possible bathroom break?
Pre-show.
Pre-show for Roadblock.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a possibility. Pre-show, that would make sense. But I'm thinking more like a second or third on the main card. Because you don't want to open up with this, because then you have the people who aren't as familiar and are like, oh, let's start watching this. Who the hell are these guys? So you want to get people invested in the program first.
Where's Roadblock at?
It's in Canada, I think,
Toronto.
right? Toronto. Yeah.
Oh, they're going to know who they are in Toronto.
Hopefully. But still, I don't think opening up with that match would probably be the best idea. So I'm guessing second or third on the card. But pre-show makes sense too.
Dash and Dawson, they're both from America, right? Neither of them are Canadian.
I'm pretty sure they're both from like the deep south.
I thought so, but you never quite know. I mean, we've had
North Carolina. They're both North Carolina boys.
Okay, so there's no risk that they would be like cheering for the hometown dudes over them or something like that. So that's good. Well, final going around the horn here. Who do you think is going to end up winning here? And do you think if it ends up being one of those like DQ count out kind of victories, is the title going to change? Peyton, what do you think?
Enzo and Cass are finally going to take these titles.
Drew?
I think Peyton persuaded me. I think Enzo and Cass will get the titles.
Kalen?
I told myself whatever Drew picks, I'm going to go with the opposite. So I'm going to stick by my thinking that the titles are not going to change hands. I could see the DQ ending, but I'm going to say Revival wins, but either way they retain.
Didn't they beat them relatively clean at the last TakeOver special?
Somewhat. Might have been like some kind of shenanigans, but it wasn't outside interference, and it wasn't like a full-on cheating kind of thing.
I think it was like the illegal man knocked Enzo off the top rope. That was the most dastardly thing they did.
Right, something real basic like that, I think. Or like they distracted the referee for a split second or something.
No, I don't even think they did that. I literally think the only thing that they did was the illegal man got a shot in. That was it.
They did the shattered knee or whatever the fuck their finisher is. Injured the hell out of them. I'm going to stick with I don't think the title's changing hands here, and if I were going to lean towards who's going to actually win the match, I'd probably say Enzo and Cass by DQ or count out or something, but more so DQ than anything.
What does that do for anybody?
Exactly.
So why do it? You're saying you want this to introduce people? That's not a way to introduce them.
I don't want that to be the case, but I think that that's what's going to happen. I don't want to give WWE too much credit to say like, oh, then this awesome thing happens, and this awesome thing, or whatever like that, because, hell, by this point, I would have already booked more than 4 matches for the card, too. So, I'm not too, overall, I'm not too worried when it comes to this. It's not going to be the end of the world if anything happens, no matter what, but I also think this is just going to be moderately okay. Not a huge deal. And if I'm wrong, awesome.
And just a quick note, I would prefer to see the title change. I'd love to see Enzo and Cass get it, but I still think maybe that's not their time.
No, you just hate them.
I hate them. I wish they would all have deviated septum injuries. And no, I do not wish that.
No, you said that right before, so yep, that's totally true.
I only want them to get injured if they're on Drew's team.
Well, then he'll just drop them, and then they'll win a title or whatever the next week.
Yeah, so
that's how it works.
Alrighty, we have part 5 coming up next. It's going to be another tag team match. This one for the WWE Tag Team Championship.